After being engaged for 3 years, Victor was hugging a young girl outside and said to his friends, "I've had no feelings for Yvonne for a long time. It's her who insisted on marrying me, willing to do anything for it." This time I threw away the engagement ring and left the Victor family completely. He thought I would be the same as before and would come to him within a week. Until the news of my date with the mysterious man spread, Victor started to panic and kept sending me messages. "Yvonne, have you had enough of this nonsense? Come back quickly." I took a photo of the ABS of the man beside me and sent it to him. "I'm busy." Victor promised to accompany me for my birthday today, but he didn't get home until 9 o'clock. He just took a quick glance at the living room as he passed by and went upstairs alone. When he came down again, he had already changed his outfit and was about to go out. "Victor," I called out to him. Victor didn't look back and prefronterfully said, "I have a contract to discuss tonight." I said anxiously, "Do you remember what day it is today?" He quickened his pace. "Well, talk about it when I get back." The car drove away straight, and the cold wind was bleak. I sat alone for an hour with bitterness welling up in my heart, but I had nowhere to bend it. Finally, Huttinghoof spoke up. "Yvonne, do you want me to heat up the food?" I calmly stood up. "No need." Then I went upstairs. There were clothes and shoes that Victor had carelessly thrown around by the bedside. While tidying them up, several messages suddenly popped up on my phone. They were messages from my best friend Bella. "You said you wanted to have a romantic time for 2 on your birthday today. Why is Victor here? Damn it, there are 8 men here, and they've hired 30 girls. Look at what he's saying." "Then what out?" "Sorry, she sent me a video." I trembled as I clicked to open it. In the video, there was a thick haze of smoke, noisy music, and everyone looked dazed and drunk. Victor was holding a cigar in one hand and had his arm around the waist of the girl beside him with the other. "Yvonne, I've had no feelings for her for a long time. It's her who was desperately begging to marry me. You and Devin used to be the perfect couple in our eyes. Besides, she's so beautiful. How could you bear to part with her? We were all naive when we were young. We had feelings, but we quickly forgot about them. It's just her who keeps dwelling on the past. It's really annoying. Also, adding to my session, Yvonne is too serious and has no sense of fun at all." After hearing this, I felt my mind go blank as if my heart had been torn open. I sat by the bedside in a daze all night, and Victor still didn't come back. I finally made up my mind completely. I started packing my luggage. On the table was a group photo taken 10 years ago. The boy and the girl were wearing clean school uniforms and smiling freely. I smashed the photo frame, took out the photo, and burned it. After all, he had said more than once that the photo looked ugly. At dawn, Victor came back reeking of alcohol. He didn't say a word and just fell onto the bed directly. When I was carrying the suitcase and leaving, Victor opened his eyes vaguely, and his voice was a bit hoarse. "Where are you going?" "Going home." "When will you be back?" "Never." Victor suddenly sat up, his eyes shining brightly. "Yvonne, what do you mean?" I said calmly, "We're breaking up." "Say that again." I took off the engagement ring, threw it to him, and said word by word, "Victor, we're breaking up." Victor glanced at the ring beside him, then smiled infinitely and lay down. "Sprayed again," he said confidently, "Fine, having fulfilled my adi. Yvonne, if you really have the backbone, don't come back once you leave." In these 3 years, I've mentioned breaking up many times and also gone back on my words many times. But this time it's for real. Bella set off a whole carload of fireworks and arranged a big celebration for me. I went to a bar after a long time. She kept cursing for more than 2 hours. I've always disliked Victor. What a jerk. He went abroad and came back and changed his heart. You were also blind. How could you have loved such a person for so long? You're the young lady of the Yvonne family, the chief designer of and jewelry. There are plenty of men who would want you. I silently drank a glass of wine and smiled. I don't love him anymore. I'll never love him again. Hey, don't cry. Bella was flustered as she wiped my tears. I buried myself in her arms and burst into tears. I had been suppressing my emotions for too long. Not long after my mother passed away, my father quickly found a beautiful wife and had a son. I seemed to have become an unnecessary outsider. I was bullied by my stepmother and her child, and my father never believed me, which made me a cowardly person. Victor's appearance was the first ray of light in my life. Since then, he was always by my side, and no one bullied me anymore. At that time, I always thought that we would be together forever. We met at the age of 13, fell in love at 17, separated at 20, and when we met again 3 years later, we turned out to be the most familiar strangers. During the time when Victor was abroad, he mentioned breaking up with me more than once. His friend said he had found a girlfriend outside, but I didn't believe it. Even when I saw the intimate photos, I was still deceiving myself. He didn't want to be with me, but he had to compromise and get engaged to me under the coercion of our families, so he always had complaints. At that time, I always relied on memories and fantasized that the passionate young man in the past would change his mind in the end. The persistent person paid a heavy price. 13 years. At the age of 27, growing up happens in an instant. Everything left with the tears. Suddenly, Bella slapped the table. Damn it, I'm going to call 100 handsome guys right now. You have to get up from where you fell. I was amused. You don't really think I loved Victor so much just because he was handsome, do you? I understand, but you're really too honest. Victor has so many women outside. Why can't you find some men to have fun with and have some relationships? Bella made countless phone calls. Although there weren't 100 men, the booths were already filled. I was completely dazzled. They were all young and handsome, one better than the other. I drank glass after glass of wine and lost all sense of direction. In a daze, I suddenly saw a man wearing a black coat sitting alone in the corner, holding a transparent wine glass with his well-defined fingers. His every move exuded an abstinent charm. I was just drunk enough to see his face clearly. I shook Bella and pointed, asking, "Who's that?" Bella was stabbering around and rubbing her eyes. "Who? Where's the handsome guy?" Ignoring her, I pushed her away. I couldn't help but walk over and stood in front of the man, tilting my head and looking at him from side to side. He had thick eyebrows and bright eyes, red lips and white teeth, and there seemed to be a hint of charm in his eyes. Suddenly, I was bumped into and fell into his arms, hanging tightly onto his neck with both hands. The man didn't move and calmly looked down at me. I hugged him even tighter and tentatively asked, "Have we met before?" The man raised his eyebrows. "Oh, where did we meet?" "Before the end of the world." The man suddenly let out a soft bluff, gently put his arm around my waist, and leaned down to blow in my ear. My body shuddered. The man's deep and seductive voice came. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." My heart seemed to be struck and was pounding. Our eyes met, filled with desire. I tightened my arms around his neck and gently bit him. "Let's go somewhere else." I don't know who took the initiative first, but we kissed all the way to the hotel. As soon as we opened the door, he pressed me against the wall and kissed and bit me. The pain made me sober up a bit, and I couldn't help but hit him twice. I said angrily, "You're hurting me." The man's actions instantly became extremely gentle. He held my face in his hands and traced my eyebrows, eyes, nose, and mouth, all the way down my body. I couldn't help but tremble and almost couldn't stand steady. He carried me to the bed. When he was about to tear off my clothes, he suddenly stopped, supporting himself with his hands. He seriously asked, "Yvonne, do you know who I am?" I squinted my eyes. He seemed a bit familiar, but I couldn't remember. I pulled his tie down. "I know. Hurry up." The man hugged me tightly and said in a low voice, "Yvonne, you provoked me. You can't go back on your word." The night was filled with passion, and all the cries and sounds were shattered. I was finally woken up by a series of phone calls. Bella let out a roar. "My dear, my baby, who did you run away with last night? I almost called the police when I woke up and found you weren't there." The bed beside me was empty, and my clothes were neatly folded. If it weren't for the exhaustion of my body and the red marks all over me, I would have thought last night was a dream. I stammered, and Bella understood something. "He's handsome, right? How was his performance?" "Yvonne, you're amazing." Strangely, I still couldn't remember the man's face. It seemed that he kept calling my name last night. Could he know me? Shocked, I quickly got out of bed and dressed. On top of the clothes was a phone number. I casually threw it aside. The first thing Bella did when she arrived was to ask me if I had taken any precautions. I pointed to the trash can, and then she was relieved. Then she picked up the paper on the table and smiled. Oh, he even left his phone number. Does he want to have another time? I'm really curious. Since he can be liked by Yvonne, I'll call and tease him. Just as I was about to stop her, she had already dialed the number. After it was connected, a deep voice came. "Hello?" Bella was instantly stunned. After a minute, the person on the other end continued. "Yvonne," our eyes met. Bella had a serious expression and immediately hung up the phone. I said anxiously, "He seems to know me." Bella was even more anxious and stomped her feet. "Sister, he's Chase. I haven't heard this name for almost 10 years. He was my high school alumnus, but we hardly ever spoke. Now Chase is very famous in the business world. He took over the group at a young age. How could the person last night be him?" Embarrassingly, during our school days, he didn't get along well with Victor. Bella couldn't calm down and kept saying, "It's actually Chase. Oh my god, baby, such a perfect man. Sleeping with him is a real gain." Last night was indeed a way to let out my pent-up emotions, and I didn't have time to think about it later. I didn't want to go back to the Yvonne family either, so I moved into the house I bought before. Bella booked a restaurant to celebrate my independence. When we passed by the private room, I actually saw Victor in the next room. I could only hear laughter and conversation coming from inside. "President Victor, have you really broken up with Yvonne this time?" "Of course, she's the one who brought it up herself. Come on, everyone knows that Yvonne can't live without you. How many times have you broken up and gotten back together? In the end, she always begs for your forgiveness and reconciliation." Everyone giggled. "Hey, let's say how long do you think Yvonne can hold out this time? 5 days? Half a month?" Victor smiled confidently. "At most a week." I also smiled confidently and walked away calmly. Bella came to my place frequently and asked me to go to the bar, but I refused every time. I've received several orders recently and simply don't have the time. Half a month later, I suddenly received a phone call. The man's tone was stern. "Yvonne, are you playing with me?" I was stunned for a moment and tentatively asked, "Chase, I thought you had already forgotten about me." He was right, so I said, "Didn't you run away first that day?" There was a long silence on the phone. "Do you want to try again and see if I'll run away this time?" "Just try it." Then Chase booked a cruise ship project. Coincidentally, my favorite designer was also on that ship. I didn't hesitate to accept Chase's invitation. On the cruise ship, I drank a few glasses of wine in advance to boost my courage. I greeted that designer, added each other on WeChat, and had a great chat. I don't know how many glasses of champagne I drank. My head was already dizzy. I stood by the railing of the cabin to catch the wind and sober up from the alcohol. Chase handed me a bottle of water and smiled. "Did you have a good chat?" I picked up the water and took a big gulp. "Very good. I haven't been this happy for a long time." "That's good." I suddenly realized that I hadn't paid any attention to Chase all day, and he didn't show any anger at all. I felt embarrassed immediately. I said timidly, "Sorry, Chase. I was so excited to meet Teacher Jody that I forgot about you." Chase lit a cigarette. "You don't need to apologize to me. I originally wanted you to have a good time." As the breeze blew, I just felt that Chase's face became more and more charming, and the more I looked at it, the more confused I became. There was a wave, and I lost my balance at my feet and bumped into Chase. He held me up and asked worriedly, "Yvonne, are you okay?" I hugged his waist tightly and leaned my face against his chest. "Not so good. I have a headache and want to sleep." He carried me to the room. Suddenly feeling the sunlight was too dazzling, I woke up with a dizzy head. Chase was wearing a white bathrobe, and his hair tips were wet as if he had just taken a shower. He was holding breakfast in his hand. I looked at myself in horror and I was also wearing a bathrobe. I asked awkwardly, "Did I fall asleep again?" Chase looked at me with a mischievous smile. "Yvonne, are you going to take responsibility?" I was speechless and asked anxiously, "Did you use protection?" Chase's eyes dimmed. "I was just kidding you. You vomited last night and even got it all over me." The clothes were taken to be washed by the waiter. "Thank you." While Chase was having breakfast, he suddenly asked, "Yvonne, have you really broken up with Victor?" "Yes." "Will you get back together?" "No." I was wondering why he was asking so many questions when I saw Chase looking at me intently. A blush appeared on his face, and he asked sincerely, "Then can I chase you?" I was stunned by the question. I didn't say yes, nor did I say no. When I got back, I told Bella about this, and she got excited at once. Why not? Such a rare and attractive person. He could even play with my feelings. I can't, of course, baby. You have to learn from your mistakes for men. Having fulfilled my obsession, the more distant you seem, the more they'll be crazy about you. I've inquired about Chase. He has a very good reputation, has no bad habits, and it would be nice to cultivate a relationship with him. That made sense. Bella told me to think about it carefully. I didn't have high hopes. Maybe he was just playing around too. While shopping with Bella, my phone kept vibrating continuously, and 7 or 8 messages popped up on WeChat. I clicked in and saw that it was Victor. Half a month after we broke up, this was the first time he sent me a message, but it wasn't anything good. He sent a few pictures and then a bunch of accusations. Who is this man? Explain it clearly. Have you already had someone else behind my back? The pictures were of me and Chase on the ship. He was holding me, and it looked very intimate and ambiguous. I was so angry that I laughed. We've already broken up. It has nothing to do with you. Bella angrily snatched the phone from me. How dare he say that to you? What a jerk. And she typed a long string of words to curse his ancestors. She said, "Baby, you're just too easy to be bullied. You have a soft temper. If you scold him a few times, see if he still dares to talk to you like that." I really didn't know how to do that. I've never known how to since I was a child. Being with Bella, I've already become much bolder. After Bella finished scolding, she still wasn't satisfied and used her own account to scold him again. Then she comforted me. Honey, good people are often bullied. We should be tougher and defend our dignity. I hugged her and rubbed against her. Okay, I'll listen to you. In the end, I didn't have the mood to go shopping anymore, so I just went home and went to bed. In the evening, Chase rushed over in a hurry. Even his tie was crooked, and he was still holding a strawberry cheesecake in his hand. He actually knew that I like this. I like sweet food, but I was afraid of getting fat, so I gave it up to maintain my figure. I took out a plate and cut the cake. Why are you in such a hurry? Chase looked at me. No wonder when I asked her to accompany me in the afternoon, she had a whole bunch of excuses to run away. I couldn't help but laugh. What are you worried about? I'm not a child. I always feel like you haven't grown up. Didn't you hide far away when you saw me fighting someone before? At that time, he had a fight with Victor. I was really scared. I was afraid of all kinds of violence and even disliked him for a while. I posted a picture of the cake on Moments. Being remembered is also a kind of happiness. Victor directly went crazy in the comments section. Who remembers you, Yvonne? Don't push your luck. Bella started scolding him back in the comments. I just pretended not to see it. Chase asked, do you cook by yourself when you're at home? I don't have time to cook. Then let me cook for you. Before I could refuse, Chase had already called his assistant to bring things over. Next, Chase was really in charge of my 3 meals a day. Although his cooking skills were average, the food was healthy, and he also didn't cross the line. Besides work, he just went to the gym with his broad shoulders, narrow waist, well-defined abs, and muscular lines. Every time I secretly took a look, I couldn't help but swallow my saliva. He's really amazing. After living together for nearly a month, I actually enjoyed it more and more. While having a meal, my phone kept ringing. Victor had been sending messages for several days, asking me where I met him. His tone was very forceful, threatening that I shouldn't regret it. I turned on silent mode, expressionlessly, and covered the phone. Chase glanced at it. Who is it? I said infernally, a mad dog. Chase didn't ask any more questions. While washing the dishes, I poured myself a glass of red wine alone and leaned against the balcony, looking at Chase's back as he cleaned up the kitchen. After he finished washing the dishes and came out, he took off his apron and walked towards me. Are you in a bad mood? I drank up the wine in the glass in one gulp and asked, Chase, do you want to be with me? Chase was very firm. Yes. Having fulfilled my obsession, I wanted to for a long time. I put down the wine glass, walked towards him step by step, reached out and hugged him, and slowly kissed him. Chase asked in a low voice in my ear, do you agree to be with me? I didn't answer and continued to kiss. Finally, having fulfilled my desire, Chase picked me up. The living room, the sofa, the bathroom, the bedroom. Every time I pleaded for mercy, he became even more intense. Yvonne, you provoked me first. Until the break of dawn, holding the person beside me, I slept so peacefully for the first time. When I woke up, there were many missed calls on my phone, and Victor's text messages changed from being forceful at the beginning to being more conciliatory. Yvonne, have you had enough of this? Hurry back. This is the last chance I'm giving you. We've broken up so many times, and it's always been me coaxing and begging. This was the first time I heard him say something like asking me to go back. However, I don't want to go back anymore. I gently pulled the quilt down from Chase's body, took a photo of his abs, and sent it to Victor. I'm busy. Victor called immediately. I accidentally swiped the call and threw the phone onto Chase. Chase opened his eyes halfway, looked at me, picked up the phone on his body, and his eyes opened wide instantly. I tried to grab the phone, but he raised his hand higher and answered the call. Yvonne, who are you with? Victor's angry voice. Chase smiled slightly. Mr. Victor, long time no see. It was such an embarrassing moment. I tucked my head under the quilt, and Chase pulled me closer to him. Victor gritted his teeth. Chase, let her answer the phone. I'm afraid she can't answer. She can't get off me right now. Can I call you back later? Chase said, you have no shame, but I have a girlfriend. I was laughing so hard that my body was shaking. The call was hung up, and Chase looked down at me. Somehow, we hugged each other and laughed for several minutes before slowly stopping. Chase suddenly asked, "Are you hungry? I'll go cook." When I got up, I suddenly grabbed his hand. "Chase, let's be together." Chase was stunned for a moment and asked hesitantly, "Could you say that again?" "Let's be together." Chase was so excited that he rolled back into the quilt and hugged me tightly. "Yvonne, I'm so happy." I pushed him shyly. "Goku, quickly. I'm hungry one more time." He pulled the quilt up with one hand. I was indeed a bit impulsive and angry before and was always wavering, but after confirming the relationship with Chase, I felt calm inside. Getting along with him is really easy. He doesn't care that I often work overtime, that my cooking isn't very good, or that my waist is a bit thicker. Bella said that this was clearly a match made in heaven. Victor was still sending me messages constantly, saying that Chase used to be a gangster and was involved with many women, and that I wouldn't be happy or have a good result if I was with him. Is he talking about himself? It's really annoying to look at. I blocked him directly. Finn invited me to his birthday party. We're classmates and old friends for many years, and he's also Victor's friend. I told him, if it's a setup for Victor, then there's no need to invite me. Finn said reluctantly, "Yvonne, don't be like this. We've been friends for so many years. Don't be so heartless." Then he lowered his voice and whispered, "Victor really knows he's wrong. He's been in a low mood these days, drinking every day. We've never seen him like this. Yvonne, you've had a relationship for so many years. Give Victor a chance." I couldn't help but laugh when I heard this. If he really cares about me, he should take action to win me back instead of drinking every day to show his so-called deep feelings. Who is he pretending for? Finn had felt mention him again in the future. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Finn muttered, "Yvonne is really angry. She probably won't come back. Who cares if she comes back or not?" It was Victor's voice, always so arrogant. Finn quickly explained, "Okay, then, Yvonne, I won't bother you anymore." Sure enough, after being with Bella for a long time, I'd become more articulate. After that, strange numbers would send me messages from time to time. The words were no longer sharp but instead were daily greetings. "How are you today? Are you feeling well? Are you happy?" He often sent jewelry, all new products from the brand I used to like the most. They were very expensive, exquisite, and delicate. This is his trick to chase girls. 2 words, annoying and despicable. The jewelry that I didn't have time to return was placed in the living room. When Chase saw it, he would pick it up and play with it, laughing as he looked at it. "Which man sent this? Doesn't he even know that you haven't liked this brand for a long time?" I looked at him in surprise. "How do you know that I don't like this brand anymore? You don't have any jewelry from this brand now. If you really liked it, would you not buy any of it? No wonder you're Mr. Chase." He put down the thing in his hand and walked closer to me. "Was it sent by Victor?" "Yes. I was just about to send it back to him." Chase suddenly put it away. "I'll return it for you. I guarantee that he won't dare to send anything to Rashu again." I rested my chin on my hand and looked at him. "Are you jealous?" He immediately put his arm around my waist and said, "I can hold a real person in my arms. Is there any need for me to be jealous?" This trust made me feel reassured and at ease. I turned sideways, hung my hands around his neck, and couldn't help but kiss him. "It's so nice." His breathing suddenly became heavier. He picked me up from the stool, kissed me as he walked, and our clothes fell off one by one as we moved. Chase had someone put the jewelry given by Victor around the neck of a dog and then led the dog to the company and returned it to Victor while shouting through a loudspeaker in the video. The veins on Victor's forehead were almost bulging out. Bella laughed so hard that she rolled on the sofa with tears streaming down her face. Chase really came up with such an idea. That bastard Victor has never suffered such humiliation before. It's making me laugh to death. As expected, I never received those things again. I only received a message, "Yvonne, you've gone too far. How can you trample on my sincere feelings like this?" When he trampled on others, he never thought about karma, did he? "You deserve it. Can't you give me another chance?" "No," I replied firmly, and there was complete silence on the other side. I thought he would give up. One night, I received a call from Finn. He claimed that something had happened to Victor and that he was in the hospital in critical condition. I said impatiently, "I'm not a doctor. Can I bring him back to life if I go there?" "Yvonne, we were classmates after all. Can't you even take a look? Are you really that heartless? Bella saw you guys with more than a dozen female companions last night. What did you exhaust yourself to death?" The person on the other end couldn't make up any more excuses and hung up the phone on his own initiative. I turned off my phone and threw it aside, then got into Chase's arms, adjusted to a comfortable position, and continued to sleep. Chase hugged me and suddenly asked, "If you were really going to die, would you feel soft-hearted? I'll hire a band to give him a farewell." Chase burst out laughing. Brilliant. Recently, I've been busy with work, so I simply changed my phone card to avoid being disturbed by these annoying things. Chase had a project with a tight schedule, and it finally took him a month of business to have some free time. I also just finished my design draft and could relax for a while. We both decided to go on a trip, tentatively to Bali. I asked for travel tips in my WeChat moments and quickly received replies. The next day, Sam suddenly called and asked me to go home. When I got home, he and my stepmother bombarded me with questions about why I had broken up with Victor. I was very calm. He doesn't love me, and he has many girlfriends outside. Sam said angrily, "It's normal for men to be playful. Besides, with a family background like the Victor family, what's the use of love? It's the financial support that really matters. I can support myself. I don't need his money. You may not need it, but doesn't the Yvonne family need it? You're so selfish, only thinking about yourself all the time. I'm your daughter, not a tool that can be given away casually. I won't be with Victor anymore. If you insist on an arranged marriage, then marry Dylan off to him." My stepmother immediately became anxious and pointed at me. "What are you saying? You don't know what's good for you. Look at your own situation. You have nothing. No, apart from the Victor family, who else would want you? Don't be ungrateful for the good life you have." I said calmly, "It's not up to others to define what I'm like, and I already have a boyfriend." My stepmother crossed her arms to Stefano. Oh, really? Can you find someone with better conditions than Victor? Why don't you dare to bring him home? Could it be that you hooked up with some dubious gangsters?" Sam was furious. "No matter who he is, break up with him immediately and get back together with Victor. Home is a place where there's no reasoning, especially this home, which has never been reasonable." I ran out. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. It must have been Victor's doing, making my family force me. I called him and cursed at him. As I spoke, I started crying and vented out all the grievances and unwillingness I had felt over the years. Victorless and without hanging up the phone, finally Henning fulfilled lead session. After a long silence, he said, "I'm sorry, Yvonne." I was stunned by these words. It was like a pig climbing a tree for Victor to apologize. I gritted my teeth. Get lost. When Chase came back, I was curled up on the sofa. When he saw my red eyes, he immediately threw down the documents in his hand and rushed over. He said anxiously, "Who bullied you?" In the past, when I was wronged, Victor would always scold me for having a gloomy face. Thinking of this, I couldn't hold back my tears again and cried loudly against his chest. Chase held me in his arms. After I was tired from crying, he slowly asked me what had happened. He had a determined look on his face. "Don't worry. I'll take care of this. I don't want you to get involved with them. They're like vampires and demons, and there will definitely be a lot of trouble. Trust me." The next day, a big scandal spread on the internet. Victor had numerous girlfriends, and his private life was chaotic. There were also videos of Victor going in and out of several clubs. All of a sudden, I became the object that the whole internet felt sorry for. When they learned that I had already broken up with him, everyone applauded and praised me for being sober and rational in getting rid of the scumbag. Sam and my stepmother sent me unexpected greetings. They cursed Victor over the phone, saying that he was a despicable person, and they also said that they supported all my decisions. I said coldly, "Don't interfere in my affairs anymore in the future." My stepmother said softly, "Yes, betting fulfill," and said, "Yes, I was wrong before." My words were unpleasant. "You're magnanimous and don't hold grudges. After all, I was thinking about your happiness in the future. You should get along well with President Chase and don't quarrel." It was so hypocritical. I said, "It's none of your business." Yes, we won't meddle. As long as you're happy, Yvonne, you see, there's something in the company." I immediately hung up the phone. I knew they had no good intentions. I cooked a table full of delicious food at home, planning to treat Chase. When I was halfway through cooking, the doorbell rang. It was only 5 o'clock. He got off work so early today. When I opened the door, it turned out to be Victor. I immediately tried to close the door, but he pressed his hand against the door frame. His eyes were full of pleading. "Ivan, do you really want to leave me? If you don't let go, I'll call the police. These days, since you left, I've really missed you. I was wrong before. Please don't be with Chase, okay?" I couldn't help but frown. "Your words really make me feel disgusted." Victor held a photo frame in front of me. Inside was the school uniform photo taken 10 years ago that I had burned before. I looked at it in a trance. Victor's eyes were red, and his hands were shaking. I asked this photo from our classmates one by one and had it reprinted. You've treasured it for 10 years, but I didn't cherish it at all. As he spoke, he suddenly burst into tears. Finn was right. I'm a jerk. I lost someone who truly loved me. Yvonne, please give me another chance. My nose suddenly felt sour. So he could say such nice words and do such delicate things, but in my memories, there was more indifference and boredom. The photo was from that year, but the person had already changed. I wiped away my tears and said sharply, Victor, belated affection is cheaper than grass. I don't need something as worthless as you. Victor became agitated and roared angrily, what's so great about Chase? He's just a sneak who takes advantage of the situation. I didn't want to argue with him, but he pushed the door even harder. With a sudden impact, I stumbled backward and fell onto the sofa. Victor had already entered the room. I roared, get out. He was like a fierce beast, exuding an aggressive aura. Word by word, I've put aside my dignity to come to you. You have to give me an answer. He looked as if he was going to eat me. I was so scared that the hair on my body stood on end. Don't come any closer. I was so frightened that I quickly picked up my phone to call the police and searched for something to defend myself with. The next second, Victor was grabbed by the back of his neck and thrown out. Chase raised his fist and kept hitting Victor as adventing his anger. The scene was chaotic for a while. Chase had practiced martial arts and often exercised, so Victor was naturally no match for him. There was already blood on the ground. Afraid that something serious would happen, I rushed over and pulled them apart. Chase relaxed his grip and held me in his arms, asking, did he hurt you? I shook my head and held his bloody hand. You're bleeding. Does it hurt, Yvonne? Victor called my name through gritted teeth. From beginning to end, I didn't look at him again. I called the police and the emergency number 120. Victor had several minor fractures in his body and was admitted to the hospital. Since there was a surveillance camera at the door, after the police took the statement, they finally determined that Victor had broken into the house illegally and intimidated us, and we were acting in self-defense. Both the Chase family and the Victor family stepped in. After all, both families had status, and they decided to reach a settlement. However, Chase firmly opposed it and pulled me out from behind him. The victim is Yvonne. Whether to reach a settlement or not should depend on her opinion. I wasn't good at dealing with such things and just felt embarrassed. I desperately tugged at his sleeve. Chase held my hand tightly and said gently, Yvonne, don't be afraid. I'm here. I was just a paper tiger in front of such important people. I was extremely lacking in confidence, especially when facing the top figures in Jonk. I was so anxious that I couldn't say a word for a long time. At this time, Victor's father spoke. Yvonne, Victor did something stupid this time. I'll give him a good lesson when I get home. For the sake of the relationship between our two families in the past, can you please forgive him this time? Harold was the most tactful in handling things, and his words were very persuasive. I didn't want to cause more trouble either, so I took the opportunity to agree. Before leaving, Chase said coldly to Harold, Mr. Victor's father, please discipline your son well. I don't want my fiancé to be frightened again. Harold smiled politely. I'm sorry for causing you trouble. After resolving this unexpected incident, Chase and I finally embarked on our journey. This guy arranged a private jet directly. Before getting on the plane, I received a strange message, Yvonne, I won't give up on you. What bad luck. I turned off my phone. The private room was elaborately decorated with pure white gardenias, scented candles, red wine, and foie gras. The whole atmosphere was warm and romantic. I was happy and excited, saying, it's just for a few hours, but you made it so exquisite. Chase was pouring the wine and said, you can enjoy life at any time. I lowered my head and sniffed the gardenias on the table. The fresh fragrance made me feel relaxed and happy, as if I had returned to my school days. You still remember that I like gardenias. There were always dried gardenias clipped in your textbooks. I accidentally stepped on one back then, and you even cried. That was made for me by my mother. That's why I was so sad. Chase instantly looked like a child who had made a mistake and said anxiously, I'm sorry. I didn't know that at that time. It's okay. That was a long time ago. Didn't you compensate me with a basket of gardenias? Chase scratched his neck shyly, pulled out the chair for me to sit down, and then played some soft and soothing music. The two of us were immersed in it, drinking wine, eating, and chatting about interesting things. Suddenly, the plane jolted, and the wine in my hand spilled all over me. I ran to the toilet to change my clothes, but there was only a night gun in the bag, and it turned out to be a white lace erotic night. I gritted my teeth. That damned Bella. She said she gave me a really expensive night gun. The air conditioning was on in the plane, and the wet clothes felt really cold against my skin. I had no choice but to put it on reluctantly. The fabric was close-fitting and transparent, barely covering my private parts. I wrapped the shawl tightly around my upper body and nervously pressed myself against the door, not daring to go out. I stuck my head out and whispered, "Chase, could you get the suitcase for me?" "What's wrong?" He walked over. I hugged my body tightly and stammered, You don't come any closer." Chase became even more anxious and rushed over with a few big strides. I was so startled that I immediately squatted down and hugged my knees tightly. Chase also squatted down and tilted his head to look at me, asking, "Are you not feeling well?" "I want to get my clothes." "Didn't you already change?" "This is a night gun." "It's okay. We'll land on the lawn outside the hotel room, and there won't be anyone else around." I still didn't say anything. I just felt my cheeks burning. Chased my forehead and said, "You're really hot. Are you feeling unwell? I'll carry you there." Before I could struggle, he had already picked me up and held me in his arms. Immediately, I froze in place. I let out a scream before I could see his reaction. I wrapped my arms around his neck and buried my face. "Don't look." Chase walked to the sofa and gently put me down. I covered my face shyly. Chase bent down and slowly pried my hands away. He said, "Yvonne, you're so beautiful." And he lowered his head and kissed my eyes, nose, and chin. I hugged him awkwardly and mumbled, "This was stuffed in by Bella. I didn't know about it. I'm not suitable for wearing this kind of thing, and it doesn't look good on me either." Chase said very seriously, "It looks good. You look good in anything." Chase said in a deep and gentle voice, "Yvonne, you're the best Yvonne in the world. No matter what you do in the future, you have to be confident, okay?" I was already being led by him. My head was in a daze, and I couldn't think about anything. I could only obediently respond. "Yvonne, are you comfortable?"